Let me just see it up on YouTube. I believe you guys are live.
Perfect. Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey Jerry. Jerry Don, the boys go out to Washington and they get a massive win. Biggest win of the season. It would be very hard to take that one away from them for the way that they played. 7-2 football team. They go into a hostile place. They beat a very good offense. Jerry, is yesterday's win one of those games where you can finally say the Steelers are contenders, or do you still think maybe pretenders?
No, definitely contenders after that win for sure. And I know it wasn't the prettiest game, but we answered the bell, and Russ did a great job of staying present in the moment, and that comeback win, man, was awesome. It really was. It was great to see. Defense showed up when they had to. I know it
Yep.
was a little shaky at times. I was a little nervous, man. That first half, it seemed like we dominated. And for some reason, the score at half, we were down. And I was like,
Yep.
how did this turn so fast? I thought it looked while I was watching like we were just dominating the game, and all of a sudden, you have the fake punt that blew up in our face, which there's people on Twitter talking about how that was a terrible call. I think it was an incredible call.
Phenomenal call. If James Pierre just catches
Yeah,
the football, dude, he's wide
yeah,
open.
poor
That gunner
execution.
slides
That's
down
it.
into the slot. You got to catch the ball, Jerry.
Yeah, I mean that was. I don't agree with the people saying terrible call. I think it was the perfect call, the right call. Just blew up in their face a little bit, but that's okay. All in all, I think they played a B plus type of game. And you see that you say, oh well, they didn't even play their perfect a perfect game, and they still beat the Commanders, who are one of the best offenses in football.
Yep.
That just goes to show we can compete with these high powered offenses.
Yep, there's meat left on the bone. And for me, it starts with the opening from the coin toss. Steelers win the coin toss, and Jerry, they don't defer. They ask for the ball. So, that's to me signals that Mike Tomlin, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, Tomlin, I believe that they were playing the Patriots, and Tomlin looks at Big Ben. They win the coin toss. He goes, "What do you want to do? You want the ball or you want to kick?" And Ben goes, "We have a great defense." And, Tomlin looks at him and goes, "Yeah, but I got you." And so they took the football. I feel like that's how Tomlin feels about Russ and the offense now, is that he believes that this offense is capable of scoring now. It's no longer, hey, we're going to have to win with the defense playing perfect football. Jerry, we won a shootout yesterday. We won a
Yeah.
shootout with one of the top three offenses in football. Back and forth. We're down 10 at one point in the game in the 3rd quarter, and they come back to win the fucking game, man. This is stuff that we said. It doesn't matter how good the defense plays. If you can't win a shootout, you're not going to contend with the Chiefs or the Bills or the Ravens when it comes January football. Yesterday, to me, proved that the Pittsburgh Steelers can play on Sundays with even the best of offenses.
Yeah, and it also proved that we don't have to play a perfect game to win games.
Right?
And I think that's a testament to Mike Tomlin, and also I think that for the first time in quite some years now, we have a coordinator who is able to scheme up our guys to get open, and the play calling is really fucking good. It really is, and we have a quarterback finally that can give our receivers a chance to make plays, which Mike Williams, a couple days in Pittsburgh, has, I think, the biggest catch of the year.
Right. And that's the best part. He just gets here on Wednesday. The guy just gets into Steelers practice on Wednesday. And on Sunday, he makes the catch that pretty much puts the Steelers in position where you'd think 100% now they're going to make the playoffs. It just looks that way. But I was telling you earlier, Mike Williams said something in his post-game interview. They asked him, how much did you practice that play? Did you know Russ was going to come to you with the football? And he says, I had an idea because on the sideline, Russ said, I want you to run this route. Calvin Austin had run this route a few plays prior, and it didn't work out. He couldn't catch the ball. And so Russ, I was supposed to line on the right side. Russ had me line up on the left side. And, if the safety came down into the box or shadowed over towards George's side, he would have one-on-one on the outside, and he assumed he was going to get the football. They asked him, how often have you practiced that play? And he said, I haven't practiced it not one time with the Steelers. It was just what Russ told me to run. Jerry, Russ understands. This guy is so smart. You were saying earlier, the checks at the line. I mean, this guy has complete command, and you're seeing it more every single week.
Yeah, and I just, going on Twitter, during the games kind of pisses me off sometimes because, that first half, that third quarter a little bit, the people are saying, "Oh, put Fields in." What do you mean? What do you mean put Fields in? Fields doesn't make any of those throws. And listen, they're two different quarterbacks. Russ is clearly the better quarterback and puts our team in a position to win games and has our offense able to score 25, 28, 30 points a game.
Yep.
Fields really wasn't doing that for the most part. I mean, he had the one game against the Raiders where we kind of showed up, but listen, this offense, and they showed the graphic even after the game, comparing Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. The offense is just so much more complete with Russell Wilson. He's a great veteran presence. You seen him having some fun after the win, which was great to see that side of Russ, because he's usually all business. But after the game, that little dance that was really fun, and he also said it too in his presser. It gave our team a chance to celebrate as a whole unit, which was awesome.
Yep.
He's locked in, man, and I think this team is locked in as well. And I think the defense understands now. We don't have to play perfect. Like, there's going to be mistakes.
Exactly.
We don't have to play a perfect game. Russ is going to do his thing, man, and he's going to cook.
They have to feel so relieved because for the last 3 or 4 years, they knew if they gave up 20 points, the Steelers are probably not going to win the game. So the defense was so constrained by the idea that's why running that fake punt and not getting it, and you gift the Commanders 7 points right there. They didn't miss a beat. In years past, imagine how many times then the Commanders just would have ran away with the game because the Steelers can't win blow for blow. They can't go shot for shot with a high-powered offense.
Remember the Bills games, the Texans games, those blowout games, like, I don't see that happening this year. I just don't.
Right. And so that to me is the most refreshing part about all of this. And it's Russ is giving them just the chances to make plays. He might have the best deep ball still in football. He might have the best deep ball.
Oh, dude. I mean, that throw to Mike Williams was incredible. You had another one to George Pickens on that sideline, just in a bucket, dude.
Yep.
Just perfect. Even that pass to George Pickens in the end zone, which, like I said, he's just giving the receivers a chance, especially George. A lot of receivers don't make that play that George Pickens had for a touchdown in the end zone early on in that game. I would say maybe 5 to 10 receivers in the league make that play, if that. George is one of them, man. And George, I don't think he's looked at as like a top 10 receiver, but he's slowly approaching that status for sure.
What an unbelievable play. So Russ knows that it's one-on-one coverage, just gives him a chance. And George Pickens, all that guy needs, if it's one-on-one, I trust that George Pickens is going to come down with the catch. Like, he's proven he is very capable of making that play. So George had a game yesterday. I mean, he was a menace out there. An absolute menace.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like he's averaging like 80 to 90 plus.
I think he had 5 for 95 yesterday, and the score, Russ throws 3 more touchdowns yesterday. I saw something that Russ has as many touchdowns. It's not a slight, but Russ has as many touchdowns in 3 games as Kenny had all of last season.
I believe it. Yeah. I mean, I think it is. I think that's accurate.
They look like a real offense, Jerry, and that's why I'm so excited. I have not, this has been building. We've been getting more excited every single week, but this is finally, Jerry, where you see them. We always wanted to know, can you go toe-to-toe? Can you win one of these shootouts? Can you win a dogfight? The Steelers have proven so far this season they can win with defense first. The defense can carry them to a They can win on the ground. The running game can carry them to a win. They can win through the air. Russ can carry them to a win. Special teams is almost fucking perfect in today's game for the Steelers. This is the most complete, well-rounded football team. And I think now teams in the AFC are starting to say, holy shit, this Pittsburgh Steelers team, while we might have doubted them, if Russ continues to play at this level, they are as good as anybody. And I'm talking Chiefs and Ravens too. Now, we're going to find out Sunday, but it's going to be hard for me to say that there's a more complete, well-rounded football team than the Steelers are right now.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I think one of the downsides to that game was the secondary. I think they played pretty poorly. Joey Porter Jr. especially. Like you said, he's just very grabby, man. He's not that, he's lanky, he's long. But like he uses his hands just a bit too much. A lot of holding penalties, illegal contact. He had the face mask. He's got to clean that up for sure. A couple missed tackles. Minka had a great tackle on that big third down play, but also missed a big one as well. Patrick Queen, I mean, he played really well yesterday, man. He's flying around the football field. So credit to him, but we got to clean up that secondary because Baltimore, they like to throw the ball.
Yep.
They got a little high-powered offense over there. Got to be careful with Lamar's legs as always. We've shown in the years past we can handle Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
So that wasn't a big worry of ours this season. But now that you see this game coming up, it's I'm getting a little nervous now.
Well, so I mean, I think of it this way. That game yesterday, love that they fucking won, but it's a nice tune-up for what you're going to have to do against the Ravens again on Sunday.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play containment. You're going to have to try and keep Lamar into the pocket. And what they did with Jaden Daniels yesterday, I thought was a perfect game plan. I mean, everybody front seven did their job. Half of the defense, I agree with you. Joey Porter Jr. has some issues. He does take some penalties. We've talked about that for the last 2 years now, where he is very grabby. He's going to take those penalties, especially against a team that has great wide receiver like Terry McLaurin. So he had a tough day. I hope he bounces back. I am a little concerned about how he played yesterday, but he is only in year 2. But it's the front seven. You see Patrick Queen get sideline to sideline and stop Jaden Daniels from destroying them on the outside.
Yep.
That was our biggest worry going into this game. Is Jaden Daniels going to smoke us with his legs? If he doesn't, I'm confident that the Steelers can win. And Patrick Queen spearheaded that performance by the defense yesterday by keeping him in the pocket, wouldn't let him break containment, wouldn't get outside. I thought that what you got out of Cam Hayward was special yesterday, 2 sacks.
Yep.
There's a very underrated play Keanu Benton makes late in the game on their second to last drive. He stops Jaden Daniels from picking up a first down and likely putting them in field goal range when Jaden Daniels starts to come through the middle of the pocket. Keanu Benton takes him to the ground. As a whole, overall, the Steelers front seven played phenomenal football, and I'm including Landon Roberts, I thought played very good yesterday. Peyton Wilson, I thought had a very nice game. Overall, as the game plan we had to stop them, it showed that Jaden Daniels was a little uncomfortable in there. I don't know if you saw that when you watched it, but it looked like he's missing his mark.
Definitely.
He was not comfortable in the pocket.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's always all smiles. And he does do a good job of staying calm and relaxed, But yeah, you can just tell he was definitely uncomfortable. And also shout out before we get any further, Cam Sutton, man. He had that big pass breakup.
Yep.
He looked like he's never missed a beat out there. He looked really good, man. He's flying around the field. That pass breakup was massive that he had.
Huge on the sideline.
He's going to grow and develop and be even better in the next couple of weeks, getting that chemistry back with some former teammates he's had here in Pittsburgh. So excited to see him a bunch more. One thing that bothers me is the use of James Pierre on defense a lot. I don't understand what they're so in love with there.
I don't love it, and I don't know if Dante Jackson got dinged, and that's
he did get dinged a little bit. But what about Trice? I love Trice.
I don't know is Trice healthy. I don't know if he's healthy right now.
I don't know. I thought he was cleared a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. I'm not positive about that, but what about just throwing Cam Sutton over there then?
Right.
I don't know.
I would rather, if that's the case, put Beanie Bishop in the slot and put Cam Sutton back on the outside. Maybe it's just because that's Cam Sutton's first game back. He hasn't played football yet this season. It's hard to just throw him in there in that type of situation. He's still getting re-familiarized with the defense, which you would think that by now he would have under control. But yeah, James Pierre, he's a liability in coverage.
I think one of the comments saying Trice is hurt, I think. Trice is still hurt, one of the comments said.
Yeah, so I think we're supposed to get him back. Highsmith, did you see he's only going to be out 2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah, well, that's not the best, but happy we're going to have Herbig back, I'd assume, right?
Yeah, he's supposed to play this week. Herbig should be good to go this week.
Well, he's going to have to step up big time because Highsmith's done. I mean, you got Preston Smith, who had a couple really nice tackles. That big tackle for a loss, that was massive.
Yep.
But, you'll see him and Herbig a lot this week.
And I think Preston Smith, we have to honestly give a little credit and respect to 2 things right here. One, we have to give credit to Mike Tomlin. Jerry, he might be coach of the year this year. He honestly might be coach of the year, given what he was handed between having to go into the season with Justin Fields, 2 new quarterbacks, pretty much complete overhaul on the offensive side of the ball with a new offensive coordinator. And they're 7-2, and it looks like they're getting better every single week. As much as I talk shit on Mike Tomlin, I have got to give him this credit. I think he might be coach of the year for the performance he's put out there. But also Omar Khan. We were pissed. You and I have conversations off camera, and it's always like, what is Omar doing? Like, he sees all these other teams making moves. They make all these moves for wide receivers, and it looks like the Steelers are just sitting back there with their dick in the hand. And then he goes out, he gets Mike Williams, who has the huge touchdown yesterday. It's Preston Smith, who now is going to be a massive addition without Smith for the next 2 to 3 games. And so, sometimes we get a little overzealous with our criticism of what the Steelers are doing, but yesterday was one of those days where they're like, just trust us, trust the process. We're showing you what the ultimate goal and the ultimate vision is, and we're working towards getting there. And yesterday was one of those bricks that builds a hell of a foundation for a Super Bowl championship team, in my opinion.
Oh, 100%. And also another thing is what the Steelers showed yesterday is, and you don't have these type of games often, but when they do come around, it usually seemed the Pittsburgh Steelers would lose these type of games. But TJ was, for the most part, kind of irrelevant that game.
Yep. Yep.
I didn't think he had a tackle up until maybe the fourth quarter. I don't even know if he had a tackle.
He did. There is a play in the end zone I didn't love, though, where Jaden Daniels is in the end zone. It's like they're one of their last drives. Jaden Daniels is in the end zone, and TJ is getting just raped on his shoulder, just getting dragged. Should have been a safety. I mean, should have been a safety.
100%.
They don't call it. I thought the officiating was a little bit sketchy yesterday, but I agree with you. I felt like TJ, for the most part, was a non-factor, which is phenomenal. Like that's another reason to be optimistic, not pessimistic, because if they can out there and win a game when TJ is basically a non-factor, that the arrow is huge for them in that regard, because he's not going to be a non-factor every week.
Exactly. So it showed that, we could win a game like that too, where TJ doesn't have his best game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they did chip him quite a bit yesterday.
They did a lot.
But still, at the end of the day, he's got to make some plays. Didn't make many plays yesterday, but hey, you know what? We still won the game. So that's got to be a little bit of a relief for that defense, man. Knowing that, hey, we got Russ, and hey, TJ, everything's not all on TJ's shoulders. This is a team, and other guys got to step up and make plays, which they did.
And so another thing is that yesterday showed that their mentality, I call it championship mettle. It's a term used in sports. Like, they have championship mettle. Like, they're built to win a title because they will not break. And when Jaylen Warren takes them pretty much all the way down the field and they get to the 1 yard line, and then he gets stood up and fumbles. Now, whether or not it should have been a fumble, I don't know that I agree with, because it looked like his progress had stopped, but he fumbles the ball. It would have been so easy in that moment for the Steelers to then lose the game. They didn't. They buckled back down. Russ makes some plays on the next drive whenever they get the ball back. The defense gets them the ball back and gives them one more chance with about 5 minutes left. And everybody is going to talk about the Mike Williams moon ball, which from Russ was an absolute dime. A perfect dime. Cannot say Russ does not have the talent to still win football games, but there was a play 2 plays prior to that I want to shine light on. It was 2nd and 16. Russ rolls, the pocket collapses. He rolls to the left side. 2 guys there, has to beat both of them back to the right side, throws a little 12-yard ball to Calvin Austin. Okay. That is the type of stuff I didn't know if Russ still had in his legs. Could he still get out of the pocket? Could he make plays out of structure? For him to make that play, I thought Russ looked like vintage Russ yesterday in the type of effort that he gave. It just goes to show that a lot of the talking heads, and me included, you've always been a diehard Russie rider, but me included, I'm like, does he have the legs enough to help this football team still win in crunch time? He proved yesterday, silence the doubt. Russ still has both the arm, the ability to read a defense has never left him, and now his legs they look like they're spry. It's the Steelers are a lot more of a threat than teams want to give them credit for, or commentators want to give them credit for, or anybody wants to give them any respect about. I think that they have gone now, Jerry. It looks like they're going to score 28 points 4 straight games with yesterday's performance. 28 points, Jerry, with that defense. I genuinely think that we can make a deep run with it.
Oh, 100%. 100%. You're right about that. Also, and I don't want to look too far ahead, but I think the Steelers right now, at about this point, are starting to get more confident. And I know they're probably not looking ahead, but I'm sure there's, questions and whatnot about this. But I think it's bringing them closer to Russ is probably our guy for next year, depending on how everything turns out this year. But I think they're getting closer to that point where I think they got their guy for next year. Especially if he continues to play like this, which I know the stat sheets wasn't great for him. He didn't throw for 200 yards, very close, 14 of 28, 3 touchdowns. But he made plays when needed, and when called upon, he made those plays. Like you said earlier, I think he still has probably one of the best deep balls in the league. Also, I want to shed some light on this. I've been hearing a lot of stuff, internet wise, and this one guy brings up a good point on Twitter. Nobody wins more close games than Andy Reid and Mike Tomlin. Like, those 2 guys there, in a close game, You want those guys as your coach.
Yep.
And, this year in the NFL and with pretty much every year, but this year especially, seems like there's been so many tight games.
Yep.
So, I want Mike Tomlin as my coach. Thankful that he's a coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Especially come playoff time. Those games are going to be tight, man. Those games are going to be tight. And I'll be the first to say it. I don't care. This team's making the playoffs. Guaranteed making the playoffs.
Oh, they're making the playoffs.
Yeah. So come playoff time, you're going to have to win those close games.
Yep.
I want Mike Tomlin. I'll take him over any coach in these tight games.
Jerry, I'll make a statement here because it's been building for over a month now. My opinion on Mike Tomlin, it changes with the wind for the most part. Any given day, my opinion on Mike Tomlin can change, but this season, Mike Tomlin has proved, he can do it without Big Ben. Because in my opinion, I used to always say, look, until Tomlin can prove he can do it without Big Ben, I'm not a believer in Mike Tomlin because of the lack of success late in the seasons, lack of success in the playoffs. I'm gonna have to give him all the respect he deserves because they went through a slight transitional phase. We would call it a rebuild. Most teams would call it a full-blown rebuild, but the Steelers never skipped a beat. They never went down to the basement. They weren't a dog shit football team like a lot of franchises have to go through for 4 or 5 years before they bounce back up to the top. That is a testament to Mike Tomlin. And I would be wrong if I didn't admit that moving forward, I am very happy with Mike Tomlin as the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And a lot of the doubt and the criticism that I've given him in the past, while it is still warranted because his playoff record is not quite where it should be, I think this year the Steelers have the ability to get over that hump in the postseason, which would really then silence a lot of the hate that Mike Tomlin gets. But I can't take it away from him anymore. I really can't. They went through a rebuild and they're right back here, 7-2 football, Jerry. And it's the best football team. If we're being very honest about it, the Pittsburgh Steelers are the most complete, well-rounded football team they've had since they went to the AFC title game in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, they're just so deep all the way around, and they could beat you so many ways, like you attested to. I want to see a little bit more of Warren too next week, man. I think he's a good guy, to scheme up against that Ravens defense, which that pass defense is a little suspect on their end, but I feel like you can get him out and make some plays in space, and I think he's going to be really good. I don't know how the Calvin Austin injury is. I know he was getting evaluated for a concussion. Not sure what's going on there, but he's a good speed guy.
I'm talking about Russ, where he was rolling out of the pocket, and that's why they put Mike Williams in the game. So honestly, it all worked out perfectly as far as that's concerned.
What I don't get is why is Calvin Austin the guy for those plays?
He's my height. He's literally tiny. That's why that's not the type of ball I would expect him to be running down the field getting. I get it, deep slant, stuff like that. I can see where he has value, but on the outside, he's not the outside wide receiver. I just think it was more so Mike Williams this week. I think will take over the wide receiver 2, snaps. I think you will see a lot more Calvin Austin moved into the slot. I thought that they used Freiermuth very well yesterday. He gets in the end zone. He has a huge third down conversion late in the game on that drive that, the play right Mike Williams touchdown. Pat catches that ball. As a whole, I thought Russ distributed the football. While it's only 14 completions, I thought he distributed the football really well, and the ground game complemented it because there were times, like you said, Jaylen Warren had a spark yesterday. I mean, he had some gash to that defense. He was slicing them up through the middle of the field, and so it's the red zone efficiency. What did we say? We had said it 2 weeks ago. We need to start seeing them finish drives in the red zone. That's the last big test. You get into a shootout, you can't settle for field goals. Yesterday, the Steelers won a game when they didn't have to kick a field goal for the first time in 4 seasons. They didn't even attempt the field goal for the first time in 4 seasons while they won the game because they're finishing in the red zone. And that comes back to Arthur Smith. It comes back to what we said about Russ. He has time in the in the bye week to take a look at the film and see what he can find and, guys that are going to be open. But as a whole, the offense is clicking. It's getting better single week. It's not just a fluke anymore. When people said, are those moon balls sustainable? The first week they said, oh, he's just throwing it up there and the receivers are making plays. Yeah. Giants game, he does it again. Now he does it to the Commanders. It's like, holy shit, man, 3 times. That's a pattern. Are you going to say it's sustainable or not? Are you going to give him the credit that he deserves?
Yeah, no, definitely deserves all the credit, man. He looks like he hasn't missed a beat, man. He looks like he hasn't missed a beat. And I love the fact that, he is so bought in to this team and this city. And I don't think it's, him putting on a phony face in front of the camera and whatnot, but you just see it, man. He is so bought in, locked in. And he keeps always talking about, just enjoy the moment, just be present, enjoy the moment. And I think it's a big thing, man. I think he's doing a great job of that.
I think as a whole, the team, there's no drama this season. We're not dealing with any drama. There were some lapses there where George was a little upset. Obviously, he's not getting the ball. He's happy now. So that's, prayers. George is happy. That's the best thing for the Steelers as a whole, is it when George Pickens is a happy camper. But it looks like every single player is 100% committed to doing their job, and it's things we haven't had in years past. And you could say that maybe that's Russ taking command, of the, that's what a captain is supposed to do, the way that Russ commands that offense, builds them up, never throws anybody under the bus, always building them up, saying the right things. He always says the right stuff. But this team, for the first time, feels like everybody is on the same page. They all want the same thing. And I think whenever they win the game yesterday and you see Russ gets them on the hard count, look at the celebrations on the sideline, on the field. Everybody loses their fucking mind. This team wants it bad this year, Jerry, and you can just see it.
Yeah, you definitely just see it. And also, shout out before we wrap up here. Shout out to the job Zach Frazier and McCormick, those rookies on the offensive line, have done this year, man.
Yep.
Big spot for McCormick to step up. Everybody talked about Zach Frazier in the draft, knew he was NFL ready to go, day one starter. But McCormick to step in there, man, and the job he's done, man, excellent job from him.
Oh, I think that the future of the Steelers' offensive line is in really good hands with Mason McCormick and Zach Frazier, and hopefully Fontenot. You see Broderick Jones, he was graded out as like the 5th best player on the Steelers team yesterday. So that's a guy, I think if he can really turn the corner and start to build on that performance and have good games that start to stack up, that will be a real X factor for what the Steelers can do offensively, because he's been a weak spot, we would say, through the first 8 games, and now he has that great game yesterday. It will be huge to get him going.
Oh yeah, super excited for this week, man. Big game. Wish it got flexed, didn't get flexed, but we got that 12 o'clock slate. 1 o'clock for you guys on the East Coast, but 12 o'clock for me. But dude, this is another big test. I think the spread is probably going to be somewhere around 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think it's 2.5 right now. Steelers
is
opened
it?
us
Okay.
2.5 point dogs currently.
2.5 point dog. Okay,
Yep.
cool. That's fine. We're home. No, we're home.
We are home. Jerry, we were basically home yesterday. I mean,
I know.
I was there. I don't know if you can hear it. That's the thing. I don't know if you can ever hear this stuff on TV, but they're doing defense chants whenever the Steelers defense is on the field.
We don't hear that.
It is deafening. I mean, it was another home game. When you looked around,
It looked like it.
Terrible towels everywhere. Again, we have got to be proud that we are Steelers fans, because it is the best sports fan base in football, in my opinion, and it is unmatched. You go to another road game and they have to go to a silent count at certain points in the game because the stadium is so loud. That's incredible as a Steelers fan to actually experience that type of stuff.
Yeah, you see TJ, in the defense talking about that a lot in pressers, when he's like, hey, man, it is the greatest feeling in the world when, you're away on the road and the home team has to use a silent count.
Jerry, he's down there yesterday. I mean, really getting the crowd. He's pointing to the crowd, hyping them up. And the place, it was so loud yet again that I'm like, this is remarkable. I would hate to be a fan at a home game and you get drowned out by the road team's fans.
Oh, yeah. But
Jerry,
be a good one next week, man. I'm excited.
You want to wrap this up? Jerry has to dip out here at 2:25. We did a live episode just because our producer is on vacation, so we couldn't get an episode recorded last night and have it edited in time to get it out today. So we figured a live episode would be the easiest way to do it. If you guys like the live episodes, let us know. Maybe it's something we'll look at continuing to do in the future. Anything you want to add more that you want to touch base on this episode, Jerry?
Yeah. What happened with the betting?
Well, we'll recap that in next week's episode, when we record it in a couple of days.
Okay. When do you want to record? Wednesday?
Yeah, we'll record Wednesday. We'll get another episode out for them either Wednesday night or Thursday morning, like the normal schedule would be.
Hell yeah. Well, looking forward to it. I will see you on Wednesday, Kevin. If we do another live, we'll definitely take some questions and whatnot, but I'm pretty much out of time now. They need to use the studio, but yeah, we'll be back. See you guys Thursday.
Yep, we appreciate you. Like, comment, subscribe. If you enjoy the live episodes, drop us a comment. Let us know you appreciate it, and it's something we'll look at doing for you again in the future. But we appreciate you guys. We will see you here Wednesday. Drop either Wednesday or Thursday.